It is actually quite the opposite, because God has to strip you of everything that you know, everything that you want, and replace it with Him. Hi sunshine, good morning. Welcome back to another vlog. If you're new here, I am Treasure Orianna. All of my content across all my social media platforms is all about mental wellness and really taking care of your mental health in your daily life, not just when it becomes a problem. So if that interests you, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the family, because I would love to have you. So I am getting ready to get up and do some batch filming content for TikTok and Instagram. I am not feeling good at all. Like, I am probably at a 15%. Today's just not the day, mentally, physically, emotionally. Like, it's just not the day today, but I have things to do. So we are going to get it done anyways, which is a really, really, really big step for me, because usually when I don't feel good, I'll just be like, forget it, I'm not doing anything. And at times, 100%, you should definitely just take the moment, take the day for yourself to not do anything if that's what you really need. But in this situation, specifically, that's not the case. Like, I have to get it done, because low-key, I feel like it's the enemy trying to get me out of alignment with God, and we are not going to feed into that narrative at all. So we turn the camera on, we're gonna film anyways, we're gonna get the content done, and that's just gonna be what it is. So I do need to make a coffee first right now. My head is killing me, so we're gonna go make an iced coffee, then we're gonna sit down, film some short form content. I'm going to try to get all the content for the rest of this week done in like this, maybe in like an hour and a half time span, because well, not because, it would just be really nice to get it all done right now. And then on Thursday, I intend to do another batch filming moment. So that'll be for next week's content, because today I have to post for this week. So, film for this week's content. So I need to try to figure out how to get back on track, because filming content the same week that I need to get posted is highly stressful for me and not good for my mental health. So I need to get back on track, but we cannot let that stop us this week. Last week we did really good with getting back on track with posting content, and we are not about to fall off. I'm just gonna make a quick iced coffee because I'm not really feeling like hot coffee right now, but I am gonna film making my coffee, a little behind the scenes moment. I have been up for a little bit this morning, but I was kind of relaxing until it was time for me to drink my coffee. And then start filming content. Hopefully that was good enough. But anyways, so that's one part done. Taste test. I don't know what it is about this this one that it tastes like chocolate milk when I put creamer. I don't know if it's because it's sweetened already or what, but I mean, I'm not complaining, but it tastes like chocolate milk. And it's only that the Starbucks brand that's like that. When I do this coffee like with another brand, or if I use the coffee maker, it doesn't taste like that. I don't know. Okay, well here got our coffee and our little makeshift setup over here. Although I probably should have tested this before right now because I'm not so sure it's going to work. But we're definitely gonna try. What is this? But for now, I know I need to strain this first. So I wanted to have a little chit chat. I hope you guys can hear me over this fan too, because I get really hot when I'm doing my hair and I don't want it to sweat out before I get to filming, so I need the fan on. So I really hope you can hear me. But yeah, so anyways, I wanted to have a little chit chat because I feel like I haven't posted consistently on TikTok, on YouTube in quite a while. And every time I'm like, okay, this is the time, we're gonna get, serious, we're gonna be consistent, we're gonna be posting, it never happens. Like, there's always a reason of why it hasn't happened. And I needed to really check myself and think about the reason why has nothing to do with the simple fact of I have had a perfectionism mindset. Like, everything has to be perfect. When I was going to therapy, my therapist brought something to my attention that I never even paid attention to, but was 1,000% true, is that I have an all or nothing personality. Like, somewhere in my brain says if it's not 100%, not at all. And to some extent, that's amazing, that's great, but not to be applied to literally everything in your life, because it can literally be your downfall. Where for me, I felt like if I had a concept, an idea, something in my mind of how I wanted something to be, to look, to feel like, to sound like, and it couldn't be exactly that, then I couldn't do anything. And that really became my worst enemy, because I can't post content if I'm looking for it to be perfect. I can't say what needs to be said if I'm looking for exactly the right words to say it. And I've definitely spoke about it before, where this would not have been my choice to be a content creator, influencer, to be posting about certain personal aspects of my life online if it were my choice. I am a very, very, very private person, and it takes a lot out of me to post content that's very intimate, very personal, but I do it because it's literally what God is calling me to do. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know that for a fact because it's not something that I would choose to do. With that being said, there's a lot of, I don't want to mess up, I want to get it right because this is God's doing, this isn't my doing. And I feel like it has to be perfect. Well, in the being perfect, in the, oh, it has to look a certain way or feel a certain way, or I have to say certain things, and if I don't say it this specific way, then I can't post the content, turned into disobedience. Because at the end of the day, if God is telling you to do something and you're not doing it, it's disobedience. No matter the reason, the way you've justified it in your head, why you haven't done it, why you're not doing it, is plain disobedience. And it's something that I had to realize the hard way, that me not posting the content, even though I know that God is telling me to post it, is disobedience. And I had to ask God to help release the idea and the mindset of perfectionism for me, because that's literally the one thing that kept me from being obedient, because I'm looking for everything to be perfect. I'm looking for everything to be a certain way, a certain aesthetic. I have to make sure that I'm saying the right words so everybody can resonate, and so on and so forth. At the end of the day, who's for you will be for you. The content that you post, it will reach whoever it's supposed to reach, and the only thing you have to do is post it. You don't need to worry about anything else. And it took me a really, really, really long time to break out of that mindset and to really truly realize and understand that yes, I can have, aesthetic content, or I can have things look the way that I want them to look, or give a, certain vibe that I want it to give. But if it's not that, that can't be the reason that I don't do it. So if it didn't come out exactly how you wanted it to, it doesn't matter, you still gotta post it. It took me a while to get to that point. I have done so many filming and deleting, filming, not posting, so much content that has not gone out simply because it wasn't exactly what I wanted it to look like. Probably content that to someone else's eye would have been great, but because to my eyes it wasn't perfect, somebody has missed out on whatever that content was. And I really had to sit down and realize that if you are going to stand in the way of whatever God is trying to do, He will give it to someone else. Because who are you to stand in the way of God? Nobody. Very tough pill for me to swallow, but something that I heard from Sarah Jakes Roberts: once you say yes to God, everything that comes after it. And when I tell you, once you say yes, God will give you conviction in ways that you probably didn't even realize. He was maybe giving them to you before, but it wasn't connecting. The way I get conviction now for every single thing, after saying yes, after giving God full authority, permission, everything, because I do believe God will not do, yes, He has the power to, but He will not just invade our space. We have to intentionally allow Him into our space. I could be wrong, that's just what I believe. But once I gave God the yes, do whatever needs to be done, remove what needs to be removed, fix me what I need to fix, because I'm not perfect. The moment I said yes to that, my literal world started flipping upside down. Things that I was comfortable with, things that I was happy with, things that I was okay with, everything stripped away and rebuilding from the ground up. I'm very thankful for the yes, but let me tell you, the yes does not mean that life is beautifully perfect and nothing ever goes wrong. It is actually quite the opposite, because God has to strip you of everything that you know, everything that you want, and replace it with Him. That is not an easy task at all. But I have been really, really, really trying to be intentional with allowing God to do whatever it is that He's going to do, and it doesn't come easy. I definitely have setbacks. I definitely have moments where I'm like, I'm just gonna quickly God convicts me, but that doesn't mean I don't have the thought. That doesn't mean that I wasn't disobedient. That doesn't mean that I didn't have the mistakes. It just means that because I've said yes, God shines a light almost immediately on the thing that I'm trying to undo that He just did, if that makes sense. So definitely letting go of that mindset of perfectionism and feeling like it has to be what I want it to be, because it doesn't. It's not about me. It's literally not about me, even in the slightest. So we're there. The other thing that God has, or that rather I've been praying to God for and finally gotten confirmation that I'm in, like I've finally gotten to that point, is breaking out of a depression mindset. When you are depressed, especially I feel like for as long as I was, you begin to become comfortable with the very thing that you hate. And it's simply because it becomes your new norm. Like that becomes the thing that you know because you've been in it for so long. And if you're new here and if you haven't watched any of my previous videos, I was depressed for 5 years. And that is the reason I started posting content, because God put it on my heart that I was going through depression to help other people. And in the way for me to do that, or the first way for me to do that, would be to post about it and make content about mental health, mental wellness, all the things. So a little bit of backstory, but if you're interested, I will put the link up here. There's a whole playlist of, from what I can recall, my journey through depression from beginning to end. There's that, and then of course there are vlogs from when I very first started where you can physically see me in it, and if you watch them from beginning to end, you will be able to see the transformation of me being depressed and coming out of it. So if you're interested, I will pop it up here. But anyways, what was I saying? I lost my thought process. That becomes your new norm. And because of that, even though it's something that you're not happy with, you don't want to obviously be depressed. Nobody wants to be depressed. Whatever life you've had to create around your depression to keep yourself as comfortable as possible becomes the very thing that you are now used to. And when you are coming out of depression, that's the thing that's hard to let go of, because now depression is what's normal. It's what feels safe. And that sounds absolutely insane, but it's the truth. It's what feels safe because your brain has now adapted to that life. And it's one of the hardest things to do, is to let go of those habits, that mindset, the way you built your life around it to keep yourself safe, to go into your new. I have been stuck there for 2 years. I've now not been depressed for 2 years. And I have been stuck in that mindset, and I feel like it's harder for me because I know that I'm not depressed, and I want nothing more than to be out of that mindset and move on and build the new life and do all the new things, because I learned so much about myself while being depressed. I'm telling you, God revealed so much to me. And it's something that I have also said before, which you could not have paid me to say while I was depressed, but it's quite frankly the truth. But I am actually very thankful for God allowing me to go through depression because it helped me grow into who I am now, and I can guarantee that I would have never understood who I was before and the things that I needed to change had I not gone through depression. And things that I used to be very prideful about and feel like those were the best parts of me, not that they weren't, but definitely needed to be changed. Like, definitely not, wasn't the vibe, wasn't the thing that I needed to be doing. So very thankful for that. But with that being said, I keep losing my train of thought. What the heck? This is how my brain works. Anyways, so I have been praying for 2 years to God to help me break out of this. Like, I am so tired of knowing that I'm not depressed, but still living my life as if I am. And that consists of not being able to get out of bed, not being able to push through the moments where I know I can get up and do something, but I'm not doing it because my brain says, no, we can't. And there's nothing like fighting with your brain, telling your brain, like, this is a false narrative, this is no longer true, we are not depressed anymore, we can move, we can get up, we can, do things. And your brain going, you're crazy, no, we can't. And so your brain wins. And I have prayed many days, many nights over the past 2 years since knowing that I wasn't depressed anymore, for God to help me through that, because it's the most frustrating thing. And when I tell you God is a suddenly God, like suddenly, because this literally just happened last week. Like on, I want to say Tuesday last week. I should try to remember because that was definitely a milestone in my life. I'm gonna try to remember, and if I remember, I'm gonna put it on the screen. But literally, I was going for a walk, I was listening to my gospel music, and God said, and now you have broken out of that cycle. And now you are no longer in that mindset. You have released it. It is gone. It is behind you. It is not something you need to worry about. And I literally cried on my walk because suddenly, literally, suddenly, I woke up that morning, same mindset. I got in the shower that morning, same mindset. Got dressed, went on my walk, same mindset. In the middle of the walk, God said, and now it's broken. And now everything has changed. Now everything is different. Suddenly. For 2 years, I have been crying and begging God to release me from that. And suddenly, she is behind us. She is gone. She no longer lives here. We are finally in the new version of ourselves, completely, fully, abundantly. Like, literally, I could cry. It's literally amazing. And it's something that, just like depression, some part of me felt like this is gonna be forever. Like, this is just what the new thing is. This is just what it looks like. This is what it feels like. And suddenly, I was wrong. God knew what he was doing, and all it took was days of obedience. 3 days of obedience. Literally. And something as simple as getting up and going for a walk every morning. Something as simple as that. Regardless of how I felt, regardless if I didn't feel good, regardless if mentally I was like absolutely no, physically I was like absolutely no, regardless of anything, get up and go for a walk. And it's not about, oh, I said I'm gonna walk 5 miles and I have to walk the 5 miles, releasing that perfectionism. It's about, I said go for a walk. I didn't say you had to go for a 5-mile walk, didn't say you had to go for a 30-minute walk. I said go for a walk. If the walk takes 2 minutes, you went for a walk. That is the type of obedience God is asking you for, that He had to show me. That's the type of obedience. You have this label in your mind of what obedience looks like, of what I'm asking you to do. Well, you said go for a walk, so that means I have to go walk for 10K steps a day. That's great, but that's not what I'm asking you to do. I asked you to go for a walk. So if you walked around your house, that was a walk. That was a walk. If you walked up the street and back home, that was a walk. If you walked to your mailbox, that was a walk. And literally 3 days of me going for a walk every day, being obedient and listening to God tell me to do that, God said, and now it's broken. Now you have broken that depression mindset. You have now entered into the mindset of abundance that you have been praying for, that you knew was coming, but you were like, where is it at? Where is she? I want to be her. Is now here. Suddenly. I'm telling you, it's absolutely insane that when I tell you God is a suddenly kind of God, suddenly. Now, the difference now in me, as far as the shift in that like moment before today, perfect example, not feeling it. I am not in a good mood today at all. Not in a good mood. I don't feel good physically. Today is just, it's not a good day. Depression mindset me would have just stayed in the bed and said, we'll try again tomorrow. New mindset me said, absolutely not. You know, you got things to do. Do those things, and then you can get back in the bed. Then you can stay in the bed for the rest of the day if that's what you want to do. But do the things that you know you're supposed to do, that God told you to do today. Do those things. Be obedient and do those things. That is the difference. Being able to fight through the just stay in the bed, to just do whatever it is. And that happened in 3 days. I keep saying that because it's actually insane as I'm like telling you guys. Like, for me to actually wrap my mind around the fact that literally not only happened in 3 days, but it literally just happened last week. Now, please understand, as I am quickly understanding, not that I didn't know before, but it's different when you're like in the moment of something. To whom much is given, much is required. So now that you know better and you don't do better, the grace is not the same. The grace is not the same when you know better and don't do better. So now that I know, gotten confirmation that I no longer have that mindset, God expects more of me to be able to push through those moments, because it's not that, okay, just because you've broken out of that mindset is not that, oh, you're never going to feel that way again, or you're never going to have moments where you don't want to do anything, or you don't want to get out of the bed, or you want to give into the feeling of just, I don't have it, I'm not doing anything. It's what you do in that moment, that's what's different. Hence, taking care of our mental health. So, please take also everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt and apply it where it fits. Don't force it to fit if it doesn't fit, okay? But taking care of our mental health, firstly, looks different for everybody. And it looks different for everyone because of whatever season you are in. That's also a little hint for something that I'm working on that I'm actually really excited about. But depending on what season you are in depends on what you should be getting yourself to do or push through or work through or whatever the case is. And it's not the same for everybody because everybody is not in the same season. So when I was depressed, this is probably not a conversation I would be having with depressed me. This is a conversation I would be having with the version of me that's not depressed and has not been depressed for a good amount of time. Like I said, the grace is different because you know better. So when you are in certain seasons, the grace that you give to yourself is different based off of whatever you're feeling. If you are depressed and you are having a day where you just cannot, give yourself the grace to do nothing because that is the season you're in. If you are in a season where you're coming out of depression and you feel like I was trying, or maybe you woke up and you're like, not today, and then you had just a little burst of energy, push yourself through that little burst of energy. For what you can, do not overdo it. If you were gonna wash the dishes that day and you woke up in the morning and you were like, not today, the dishes have to sit there another day, but then somewhere in the middle of the afternoon you're like, I could actually wash the dishes today, get up and wash the dishes. And if all you did was wash the dishes, you did great because you gave yourself grace for when you needed it, but you pushed through for when you could. If you are someone who's just newly out of depression, where you're so questioning, am I depressed, am I not depressed? You can push your limits a little bit differently. You may have the energy because you're newly depressed, you may newly out of depression, you may have the energy to say like, you know what, today I'm gonna go for a walk, I'm going to do my laundry, I'm going to work on a new project. And maybe when you woke up, you felt like you could do all those things. You go for your walk, you start your laundry, you start working on your new project, and somewhere around that day, you start feeling like, oof, maybe I put too much on my plate, maybe I'm not, feeling all of these things. Finish one thing. You finish one thing because you're not depressed anymore. You have to retrain your brain to understand you're not depressed. This is not depression, it's just new, so it's uncomfortable. Finish one thing. So you've already done your walk, you did that. You're in the middle of your laundry, you're in the middle of a project. Pick one. Pick one based off of how you're feeling, where your energy can go. If your energy is like, you know what, I haven't finished my laundry and I'm working on this project, I have the wherewithal to put one more load in and then fold, but I don't really have the brain capacity to finish working on this project, put the project aside, go finish the laundry. Maybe you're someone who doesn't like laundry, and you're like, you know what, I'm not really feeling laundry, but I'm feeling a little bit more creative. Finish working on the project. Because you're not depressed, you can push your limits a little bit, but you need to pay attention to what kind of energy you have and give energy to that thing. That's another hint of the secret project. But there's that, and then we just talked about someone who's not depressed and hasn't been depressed for a while. You would be where I am right now, committing to something and doing it no matter what. And that is simply because you have to break yourself out of, you are not depressed. You know you are not depressed. You've known for a while you are not depressed. You've got to stick to something. I promise you. And I'm not saying that it's only going to take 3 days like how it took me. Maybe it takes you 1 day. Maybe it takes you a week or a month. It doesn't matter. The time is not what matters. It's about committing to something for yourself and sticking to it. And not putting a label of what that needs to look like because you will stress yourself out. Letting go of the perfectionism. Just doing the thing. That is something that that I struggled with so much, and I still struggle with, if I'm being honest, but it's something that I'm actively, intentionally working on. Don't worry about the time, worry about the thing. If it's 1 minute, you did it, it doesn't matter. If it's 20 minutes, you did it, it doesn't matter. The point is getting it done. It's not about how long it took, it's not about the time that you took doing it, it's just about doing it. When you are not depressed, and you've not been depressed for a while, and you know that. So, those are my little tidbits. And then, you know, as we go and as I learn more, obviously I'm going to share more. If you have any questions whatsoever and you're watching this video, whether you're depressed or not, whether you know someone who is or isn't, maybe you are just not feeling it, maybe you're just having some like moments where you're just feeling a little bit down. You don't need to be depressed, because everybody has bad mental health days. This is not only for people that are depressed, it's just when you don't take care of your mental health, that is a possibility that can happen. So if you have any questions, regardless of what stage you are in your life, please comment below, ask the questions. I will definitely respond. You can let me know if you want me to respond just in your comment, if you want me to make a specific video, whatever it is, please let me know. And I will do my best to answer whatever questions you have, or if you have questions about me. I am an open book for the most part. I will share anything mental wellness related about myself. I keep some things private, obviously, if it doesn't have to do with my mental health, I don't share those things, but anything that has to do with mental health, I will share. So please, please, please feel free to ask. But that was a long little spiel, but anyways, getting ready to start filming this short form content. Okay, so we just finished filming some content. Hold on, this battery is about to die. Let me change it. Okay, that's better. So we just finished filming some content. I think I filmed about 3 or 4 videos. I don't remember right now, but they are for the first half of the week. I do have a few things like B-roll wise that I need to film for some of them. But they're not urgent because it's not for today, so I will probably either do it later today or tomorrow, or Thursday if I don't need it for tomorrow. We'll see. I have to look at what I filmed and what I need. But anyways, I was, or rather yesterday, I said that I was going to do my laundry today, and then when I was done filming content, I was like, maybe we'll do it tomorrow or Thursday. But we said we're gonna do it today, so we are. However, we're gonna take a break first because we have worked for about 2 hours, which is amazing of us. So we're gonna take a little break, and yeah, we're gonna take a little break. That's what I was trying to say. I'm gonna eat something though, because like I said, my head is hurting really bad, and it's been hurting all day. I've had it since yesterday. It's just increasingly getting worse. Okay, so change of plans. Well, technically, I guess not change of plans. I did intend to go for a walk around this time today, because I couldn't go this morning because it was raining. I don't know where my umbrella is, so I was not going to be walking in the rain, but When I looked yesterday, it said that the rain was supposed to stop around 3. And so I said if it did, that I would go for a walk. It is 3:20, or last time I checked it was 3:20. So it has stopped. So we're gonna go for a walk. But because I don't feel the best, we're not gonna go too far. But just like I was saying this morning, it's not about the distance, it's about the obedience of just doing. So I'm surprising myself, and this is an in real time moment of realizing that I have broken out of depression mindset, because depression mindset would say you couldn't go this morning, so that's it, no walk today. But new me mindset of abundance says it doesn't matter what time, it matters that you do it if you're able. It's not raining, I can go, it doesn't matter what time it is. So I'm going, and I'm not going to focus on how long I'm walking, just that I went. So we're going to do that. We are on our walk. It actually feels really nice right now, so that's lovely, because I probably won't get too hot, which is great. We're just gonna walk around the corner. We're not gonna go too far, but we're just proud of ourselves for doing it. The hardest part about it was getting up to actually walk out of the house, and we've already done that. So now we just literally have to walk back home. So yeah, very, very proud of us. I was so quickly trying to get out of the house before I changed my mind that I forgot my headphones, and I like to listen to my gospel music on my walk, but that's alright. I'm not walking that far anyway, so it's okay. But I will talk to you guys when we get back in the house. So it's very many hours later since I talked to you guys. I think the last time I talked to you, I was on my walk. I haven't done much besides finish my laundry, and I'm waiting for my blanket to be done. So I am going to put my clothes away while I'm waiting. But I did want to just have a little chit chat again with you guys to wrap up this vlog. But I just wanted to talk about how really allowing God to take over and listen to his word and like what he's asking of me and how he's trying to move in my life has definitely felt like a reset for my brain. Like, it has felt like a reset for my mental health, and there's a certain kind of peace that happens when you take yourself out of the equation and you just simply let God do what he's gonna do. Like, not that it means that it's easy to do, but it definitely takes a load off for you to fully surrender to God's got a plan, and it has nothing to do with me. Like, I literally don't need to do a single thing because God's got it covered. And it has just been very refreshing for me to finally get to that point. So, saying all of that to say, I really encourage you that if you're struggling right now in literally any aspect of your life, that you just surrender to whatever God is trying to do, even if it's uncomfortable, even if that means you have to give up something that you feel like you have decided you need or want. If it's not in God's plan, I promise you, you don't want it. I promise you, whatever God has for you and whatever's in his plan is a million times better than anything you could think you could want for yourself. So surrendering to that will you won't regret it. I'll just say that. You won't regret it. And simply at the end of the day, if you don't take anything else from today's video, please understand that transformation does not come from doing more. It comes from changing your mind. That's it. That's it. Transformation does not come from, let me do 10 new things. It comes from you just making a choice and deciding to do something different. Even if it's one thing. That is what transformation comes from. So walk away from this vlog and decide that you're going to change your mind about one thing in your life, and you will start to see the transformation of everything. I promise you that. So yeah, but thank you so much for watching this vlog. I have actually really enjoyed spending the day with you guys. Like I told you when I woke up this morning, I was not feeling it, did not want to pick up this camera, but I did it, and I am quite happy that I did. I definitely feel very good about myself. I'm definitely proud of myself for following through with the plan that I made. So definitely don't regret being obedient and doing what God told me to do today. So thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the family. And if you have any questions, again, please feel free. Do not hesitate to ask them in the comments. I will meet you there. And yeah, I'll see you in the next vlog. Love you, babe.